Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing? How your mama now? How your mama now? I love you more. Guys, welcome in, welcome in. As we get in, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and push us out to the FYP. And this week on Late Nights with Santana, it is going to be an interesting week. It is going to be a very, very interesting week. So, guys, lock in, because this week we are dealing with a topic that a lot of people might not necessarily be ready to have the conversation about, but I think it's a conversation that absolutely needs to be had. And that conversation is specifically dealing with deconstructing religion, right? And when we talk about deconstructing religion, it's not something that is on its face just, oh, you got to stop worshiping or da 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 da. It's integral. It's integral. It's detailed. It's something that is very important and something that we have to ensure that we have a very, very robust conversation about. Now, with that being said, we're going to start getting people up here in just a few moments. We're going to really get into it. I'm going to really break down what this entire week is going to look like on late nights. So I hope everyone's ready. Everyone's locked in. But before we do anything else, you guys know exactly what we do. So let's do it.
Yeah. This ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana. And Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go! Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, just a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, just the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run the game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear. But you find us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open, no judgment.
Just motion.
Ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open, no judgment. Just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana.
Guys, welcome in, guys. This is Late Nights with Santana, and I'm excited for this evening. Now, first and foremost, let me just say welcome in, Dean Raid. Welcome in, Dean Raid. If you are coming in from Dean's stream, welcome. Let me be very clear, straight out of the gate, just so people don't have any type of misconception of what this is. This is not a debate. So if you are in the request and think that you're going to get up and, you're going to do the debate, bro, or whatever the case may be, that's not what we're doing here. This is not a debate. This is Late Nights with Santana. This is a panel discussion. And this week on Late Nights with Santana, we're talking about deconstructing religion. And what does that actually look like? How does that actually represent, or how does it actually present itself? And, just the different aspects of deconstructing religion. So with that being said, if you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and get up here. That's all you got to do. You got to request up. Every single person is welcome. 1 second. Sorry. With that being said, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me if you have not done so. It's only 1 coin. It'll boost the live, push us out to the FYP. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just 1 moment. Up there he is. But first and foremost, I would be remiss if I did not introduce my co-host for this week, Jeff from End of a Species. Jeff,
you must have just chewed some gum, man.
Yeah,
I smell some peppermint coming out my speakers. That's what I'm talking about.
Listen,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's what we do, Jeff. Jeff, first and foremost, welcome in. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being willing to actually help guide this very important conversation, right? It's something that I feel like a lot of people want to have the conversation around, don't necessarily know how to have the conversation around, but we're going to deal with all of those things. So, Jeff, if you could, a quick introduction for yourself. And also, can you introduce the people to this topic, what we're going to be talking about, and what that's going to actually look like?
Yeah, so I'm Jeff from End of a Species. End of a Species is the thing that drives me. It's a brand and a platform that I created based on one premise, and that is that we are cooked as a species. But enough about that. I'm expanding that, and I'm going to be talking about, I might just do some shameless plugs throughout the night. What I'm really excited to talk about is deconstruction, and how I think sometimes people have a misconception about what that is. So that's why I'm really glad to have this conversation going, to have everybody come up on the panel. Deconstruction is a process and not a destination. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. But it's also probably, I'm going to say, out of all of the different structures that you can look at, it is the most dangerous process that you can undergo. Because of the nature of religion and how we interact with it, what place it serves in our psychology. Deconstructing religion, if you're not prepared for it, if you don't do it correctly, something you guys might know about me is I'm an atheist, but there are certain things I do not do when I'm debating my atheism. And that is try to trigger a deconstruction in somebody who's honestly like questioning, unless they're ready, because it is dangerous. So I think this conversation is like really, really important, because while religion does have a lot of impacts on society that lead to things that we talk about every day, it also, like, there's this weird dichotomy with it where it also fills a place in people that we have to be very responsible with when we help them rip it away.
Yeah. I'm super excited to actually get into this conversation this week, especially because I know religion is something that's very personal to most people, whether people have a close relationship with their religion, whether it's a situation where they had a close relationship and now they have abandoned that relationship because of the impacts that religion has had. It's something that differs for different people. But with that being said, if you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. I know we got a lot of people in the box. I'm going to go ahead and start bringing a few people in. And as we bring people in, guys, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. And we will go around the horn and do some quick introductions and then really get into it. If you're over on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and you would like to join the conversation, the only thing you have to do is actually hit that request button. You do not have to leave where you are. The only thing that you have to do is hit that request button. With that being said, guys, keep doing all the wonderful things. Tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only 1 coin. It will boost the live and push us out to the FYP. I'm going to start bringing people in. And as we bring people in, again, make sure you mute yourself. All right, and let's do this. Let's bring this up just a little bit. Bring this down. Bring it over. Okay, and then that way we can fit one more person up here. Boom. All right. All right. Perfect. All right, guys. Again, we will be getting into this conversation here in just a moment. But again, remember, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. All right. We're going to start with the realist therapist. How are you?
Hi, Santana. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Realist therapist, can you tell the people, what would you say your current relationship is with religion?
My current relationship with religion is, you know what? It's funny you asked that question. Yesterday, I heard a quote that made a lot of sense to me. And it was a pastor that said this. They said, we need to be worried less about religion and more about the relationship that we have with whoever our spiritual guide is, spiritual leader, the creator, which, whoever we believe in, and worry more about the relationship with them. And I completely agreed. I was raised Baptist, baptized in a Baptist church, but the older I got, I found myself leaning more towards the spiritual practices from my ancestors.
Okay. All right. Wait. We don't want to go too far. This is just the intro. We don't want to go too far.
So yes, I'm more spiritual right now, trying to get back to my roots.
Okay. Perfect. All right. One moment. Nexus, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say real quick, I really appreciate being brought up. I've been watching you and Dean and Parker for a while.
Okay, well,
I just love what you guys do.
Well, I appreciate it, but just FYI, you do understand that, like, one, this isn't a debate. This is like late nights.
Oh no, I know.
Okay, perfect. All right, Nexus, question for you. What is your current relationship with religion?
So I'm agnostic. I was brought up Jewish, and mom was atheist. I kind of related a bit, but wasn't sure. And then my aunt introduced me to agnosticism, and I just realized that was more me.
Okay. Perfect. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. We have, is it Aria?
Yes, you said it correctly.
Aria, how are you?
Good. I didn't expect to be brought up here at all.
Absolutely. Well, Aria, question for you. What is your current relationship with religion?
I don't really have a relationship with religion. I practice witchcraft, which is a really hard topic to talk about where I live in the United States. But it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. 1 moment. And last but not least, I'm trying to get them over here. Trying to get them over here. We have Vash over on YouTube or Twitch. Vash, how are you?
Get that YouTube name out your heckin' mouth.
I know, right? Absolutely. Vash, what is your current relationship with religion?
I feel like the best way to say it is my brain is atheist, but my heart is Christian. Because, well, I'll explain later. We'll get to it.
Okay. All right. Vash, I'm going to sit you over on that side. All right. Perfect, guys. We're going to go ahead and get into it. We are going to get this conversation going. Now, before we go too far, just a couple of reminders for the people on the panel, guys. Please, please, please remember, while we're having this conversation, please use TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like AB, unalive, pew pew, mustache man, C19, things like that that will protect not only your TikTok, but it will protect Alive. Also, I want to remind you that this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms, no racism, sexism, classism. We don't do any homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play it on the panel nor in the chat. Speaking of the chat, guys, please, please, please be mindful. Caps are for mods. Please do not use caps because caps will draw my attention away from the chat. I'm sorry, away from the panel and to the chat, and we do not want to do that. So please, please, please do not use caps. Now, we want to ensure that you guys are being interactive participants. What does that mean? Tap the screen. Tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Also, I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1-cent gift goals. If we can knock those out a couple of times, it will boost Alive, push us out to the FYP. I'm going to also try to rotate as many people in as possible. I know this is a conversation that a lot of people want to have. So if you're interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. I will say, the fastest way to get up here is either coming from YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram, because there's no line over there currently, but there's a massive line over on TikTok. So if you are over on YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram, and you want to join the conversation, all you have to do is click that link and we will get you up here. Last thing, guys, if you enjoy what we do here on the space, if you enjoy what we do on late nights, please consider supporting. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Everything is accepted, anything's appreciated. And please make sure we're taking care of Jeff. Jeff is going to be here with us this week. He's going to be the one that's really helping guide this conversation. So it's important to make sure that we're showing Jeff love. So make sure we're gifting Jeff, make sure we're hitting his pay links, make sure we're just showing Jeff that he is appreciated. All right, Jeff, I'm going to come to you to start this thing off. So I know we have a way that we're going to actually break this down over the first couple of nights. I'm sorry, over the next couple of nights. And I know this evening we're going to spend time with the breaking down of deconstruction. But would you mind sharing just a quick recap as far as what each topic means, so they can know what to expect over these next couple of nights?
Sure. So, that got super loud. But yeah, so breaking down deconstruction, I really want to have everybody understand what that is as a process. I think one of the things I like to say is deconstruction does not entail atheism. So for people who have gone through some different type of deconstruction, you might land on something else that works for you. So that's number one. The second thing is the price of your faith. And that's once you've decided to go into deconstruction, just kind of coming to terms with what the impact of having your faith is on you, what it is on the people around you. I know we're speaking on this broadly, but for certain marginalized communities, how that faith was given to you and to your community and how it is enforced, things like that, so that you can kind of understand in my notes, actually on yours, it says, what do you have to lose? Mm-hmm. But I really want to focus on what are you afraid of losing? Yep. Right. And I think this is the most important part. Like, what are you afraid of losing is a self-aware inventory of the things you're going to have to replace if you lose them. Right. Different things can happen to people when they separate from their religion, when they deconstruct. That can range from separation from your community. That can range from you can have an existential crisis. But the things that you're afraid of, those are the things that you want to address. And then the best part, what does life after look like? What survives? Who are you after that? After you've gone through the deconstruction. Now I know that we said we're going to piecemeal it, but since we have people come up, I think it's perfectly fine if, since everybody's in different stages of deconstruction, if people want to address different parts of this, I think that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? You actually stole my thunder, because that's where I was going to go. I was going to say really quick, let's do a round robin, right? Just to get a quick temperature check. And Vash, I'm going to start with you. Vash, are you currently deconstructing religion, or have you been through any type of deconstruction?
It's mostly mental deconstruction of it, because I mean, man, I have existential crises, and I have this dissonance between my head and my heart. So it is what it is.
Okay. Perfect. The realist therapist, what about you? Have you been through deconstruction of religion or any deconstruction?
I absolutely have. You know, when you get to that point in your life and your Blackness, and you realize that the religion that most of the community believes in was the same one that was used to keep your people in oppression, that's when my deconstruction started to happen.
Okay. Perfect. Nexus, what about you? Have you been through deconstruction of religion or any deconstruction?
Yeah, I would definitely say like early puberty years. I was definitely when I started deconstructing my religion and just kind of figuring out where I landed.
Okay. Perfect. And last but not least, Aria, have you went through deconstructing your religion or any type of deconstruction?
Yeah, after like people would like forcefully try to make me turn religious, or like when I was religious, like tell me that if I leave him that some bad stuff will happen. So like, yeah, that's when I started.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Jeff, so religion, and you've heard me say this more than a few times, right? And I'm sure a lot of people have heard me say this before. The issue that I have with organized religion is that people tend to use their religion as a sword to attack others versus a shield to protect others. Oftentimes I talk about how like I don't think having like any type of religion is a bad thing, but I do think that there is a lot of harm that is around structured religion, right? Because there's a lot of control, there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of harm, there's a lot of power. There's so much that goes into it. So understanding deconstruction and what that actually entails. A lot of people think the first thing when they hear, oh, you got to deconstruct your religion, the first thing they think is, I got to stop believing in God. I got to become full-blown atheist, blah, 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 blah. Can you go ahead and not only tell the people, what does it mean to deconstruct religion, but how do we get started?
I'm going to sound cheesy here, but the first step is like just admitting you have a problem. And the problem's not religion. The problem's not belief. That it's just that there's something that's not right. Once you determine that, then you can start like, you know what? I would say start with finding a community of people who understand deconstruction, people who have been through it already, people who are familiar with going through it, and set boundaries for yourself. If you're not ready to give up belief in God, then that's a boundary. Cool. If you're not ready to walk away from, Thinker is awesome. If you're not ready to walk away from a community, that's a boundary. But what I would say the process looks like is setting a plan for what type of thinking you're going to use to determine which parts of this make sense and which parts of this don't. And again, that looks different for everybody. For some people, That just means adjusting how you interact with your religion. This is, believe it or not, how denominations come out. People go into their religion. There are things that they don't like. And then they go, okay, I'm keeping this part. And so now they have a new denomination.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the starting game plan, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah.
With regard to starting deconstruction. If you don't have a game plan and you're just going to walk in, at some point, I'll tell you a cautionary tale of things I've seen, but it can end in disaster if you don't have that game plan.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because and Jeff, there was a special request as well, so I'm going to give it back to you half a second before I move it around the panel. But there was a special request of saying, can you actually define what deconstruction is? But before you do that, I will say I think that understanding not only how you plan on going about doing something is important, but ensuring that you set yourself up for success is super important. So to your point, a game plan is super important. And a lot of people may not have gone through any type of deconstruction, and people may not know what deconstruction is. So Jeff, can you define that term for them?
So I don't know if I think describing what deconstruction is better than just like a pure definition. And I would say like deconstruction is a process and a method to evaluate your beliefs. Simple, like that, as simple as I can put it. Mm-hmm. I would also say it's a commitment to tying critical thinking to presuppositions you may have, identifying biases you may have, and broadly in religion, it's also a commitment to being responsible to your own personal well-being, your health, whether it's physical or mental, your social interactions, whether your ethic, your personal ethic, and the things that you think are that you value. So whether that is like reducing the harm that comes to different people that you've seen, all of that falls under deconstruction.
Okay. Perfect. All right. The realist therapist, coming to you first. You said something that really caught my attention, right? And I know how important religion is in the Black community, right? We start by going to church when we're young, right? We just had Easter yesterday. For Black people, Easter is a massive event where not only do we all get dressed up in our Sunday's best, we go to church, we sit, afterwards we have Sunday dinner, we go and have Easter egg hunts, and we fellowship and all this other stuff. And that has been a staple of Black community, Black society, because religion is so deeply ingrained into who we are. But also, you said something that caught my attention. You talked about how religion has been weaponized against the Black community. Now, what started your actual deconstruction process with religion when it came to understanding the weaponization towards the Black community? The realist therapist?
Okay, say that last part again.
What started?
Can you hear me?
Yep. What started your deconstruction of religion when it came to you finding out how it had been weaponized against the Black community?
Research. I've always been one to been open with all religions and all spiritual practices, like not shunning anything. And the more you learn about other religions and other cultures. And then when it seemed like people who were hard, kind of like strict with Christianity, weren't so open with accepting practices from other people, like they weren't accepting the things that other people's religion brought. And it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole. Well, it's like, why are some of us holding so tightly to Christianity? Like, why are we holding it so tight? And then it's like, okay, well, let me go down this path. And then realizing that a good bit of us are holding it so tightly because that's what we were taught to do. And we don't really know that that's what happened. That was what was taught to us during bondage, is when we were stripped of our spiritual practices from our ancestors, that we were taught an alternate version of the Bible. And that taught us to kind of hold tightly to putting nothing above the Christian faith. What Christianity says is God. What Christianity says is the way you're supposed to worship. What Christianity says how you're supposed to do rituals and singing and assembly, and how they say you're supposed to interpret the Bible. And it's like, why are we holding on to this? And I feel like more of us need to understand that the most religious of us, we didn't get that way by accident. It's what we were taught for generations. And then I became on this wavelength of unlearning, because I don't want to feel tied to something that was forced upon my people.
Okay.
Like, it's okay to believe in the Christian faith if that's what you want to lean towards, if that's what you end up going on your journey, but not because I was forced to do it, because my ancestors didn't have a choice.
Okay. All right. Hold tight for a second here. Nexus. The realist therapist said that with the Christianity, like, that was something that held down her ancestors, my ancestors, our ancestors. But you said you went through a deconstruction period yourself from your religion, which was you were Jewish, right? And it's Judaism. So you deconstructed from Judaism. But you also said that you ended up starting that process at an early age. How did you come to that point that was something that you needed to do?
Kind of a mix of things. I mean, I started just looking at religion with a logical sense, but also with a sense of, I had a lot of things happening in my life, and then also seeing the things that happen to others in this world. And it just made me think, if there's a God, why are they allowing these things to happen? Why are the things that are happening to me? Why are the things that are happening to all these other people in the world happening if there's a God that loves us? And then with a logical sense too, also just thinking, how can that be real? And so between the two, it just kind of pushed me further.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand that. A lot of people deal with the question of why, right? When it comes to religion, a lot of people struggle with the idea of why. Like, if God is real, then why are these things happening? If we are supposed to actually follow this word, then why do we deal with the sufferings that we face here, in the world? So I completely understand that. Aria, coming to you. So you said that you started to pull away and somewhat deconstruct when you had religion forced on you for control. Tell me about what was that aha moment for you that made you say, you know what? Absolutely not. I'm getting away from it.
Like, I don't know how to explain, but like, after like I started doing research, because I thought like witchcraft was cool and stuff, and like people made fun of me for thinking that was cool. And once I started doing research on it, I started figuring out, like, I feel like I believe more in this than I do like being Christian and stuff like that. And like people telling me if I like turned out to be a witch or something, that they would start praying for me, and I was tired of that, so I just decided to do my own way.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because when you start talking about like the misconception as far as being able to freely figure out what you want to deal with when it comes to your life, but then being pigeonholed into something and then followed up with, oh, you know, that's the devil. I'm just going to pray for you and we're going to pray it away. Like, that's a whole thing. And that's something that's been weaponized against so many communities, right? The idea of, oh, you just need to pray for this, pray for that, pray this away, be steadfast in your suffering. It's a whole thing. Vash, I want to come to you. What sparked your actual process? Because I know you haven't officially deconstructed religion, but it seems like you still have a soft spot for religion while understanding that you don't want it to be something that's weaponized. Tell me, how'd you get to that point?
Every JRPG ever. Like, the church is always evil. Like, that definitely gave me a start to realize, oh, wait, they weren't actually kidding. This isn't fantasy.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, if it wasn't clear, I'm like uber white. I'm pasty as heck. I went through communion and Sunday school. Like, they rooted this deeper in me than like a plant 500 feet underground. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of stuck with that, like, part of my heart being like, praise Jeebus.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of us have an actual. It's interesting because religion is something that we find at an early age, most of us, and it becomes a core piece of who we are. To your point, it becomes so deeply rooted in who we are. But I think that once we get a little bit older, we start to have a little bit of understanding and things. We start to question things more, and that's where we actually make a little bit of a shift. Now, Jeff, I'm going to come back to you, but before I do, I just want to call this out because I said this in the video that I posted. If you guys haven't saw the video, I posted a video talking about what we're doing this week. It's in the thumbnail caption. I know for a fact that this is going to be a highly charged week, right? Not because late nights is contentious, but for a lot of people, their religion is who they are. And we've already seen this so far in the chat. There's been people who, for some reason, feel like they need to spam, you know, God is king, or like all this other weird stuff. And I just want to take a moment just to say, you're welcome to the conversation. Like, you don't have to be weird. This is not some, I want to be clear. The fact that we're talking about deconstructing religion does not mean that we are casting dispersions on any one religion or anything along those lines. This is just an important conversation that needs to be had. And with that being said, everyone is welcome to the conversation. So I'm just going to let you know, if you're being weird in the comments, my mods are going to put you in the cocaine of clutch. And once my mods put you in the cocaine of clutch, you don't have to send me an email talking about you were defending your God. No one is attacking your God. I've already gotten an email. Save it. Just save it. With that being said, guys, again, continue to tap the screen, share the live. Let's get the likes up to 200,000 likes. Also, if we can keep knocking out the daily gift goal, that'll help boost the live and push us out to the FYP. And why does that keep jumping? Again, if you guys would like to support the live, if you enjoy what we do here on late nights, if you like to support what we do and to keep late nights going, please consider donating. Just like Shanna sent a $5 donation and said, thank you. Thank you, Shanna. You are more than appreciated. W's in the chat for Shanna. Thank you for that. And W's in the chat for Callie Mango, who sent a $4.99 super chat to say, hi, Santana. Thank you for hosting this space. As someone currently in the process of deconstructing, these conversations are so valuable to me. Absolutely, Callie Mango. I appreciate you. And W's in the chat for Cookum Keem, who became a late night tuber. Again, guys, if you like to support the live, you can do so. Pay links and links are in the bio. But please don't forget to take care of Jeff. Jeff is here. Jeff is guiding the conversation. Make sure we're gifting Jeff. Make sure we're following Jeff. Make sure that we're showing him some love. Speaking of Jeff.
Yo.
So it was interesting to hear the different people kind of go around the panel and hear like those inflection points for them and the things that made them like second guess religion. And I want to keep talking about deconstructing religion, but man, I feel like we got to talk about why people feel like this is an attack on them.
Because I think you hit the nail on the head. It's tied to their identity. Politics does the same thing. Like when we talk about politics, you see people who cannot disconnect from whatever their politics are because it's their identity. But yo, look, if you guys are in the chat and you're being weird, he got it, right? If he's around and he's all the stuff, he got it. He don't need you to do nothing goofy. All right. So I wanted to throw a little bit of a wrench in the works, because yes, religion was forced on our people. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. One thing about Black innovation that I always love in history is how we took that. And now you talk about sword and shield. Mm-hmm. Black churches were that shield. They were places of congregation. Like it was a place where we took the religion and we say, hey, this is a place of safety for us. This is a place where we can have our community. This is a place where we can do the stuff we want to do. To me, it doesn't make the God more real, but that's a benefit, right? That's one way that you can make stew out of the scraps of meat they give you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this is what I mean when I say there's this dichotomy. Most of the dominant religions today were spread by sword, were spread by force, were spread by marginalization. And that's not going to change. But some people going through the struggle have made it a positive, have made it exactly the thing that you're looking for, right? You're looking for the people who are religious to, it's like I always ask people through all the conversations that we have here, what are you doing to feed people? Like, I don't really care what you believe. What do you do? How is what you believe feeding people? And so I think it's important to also highlight that when push comes to shove, there are ways to take this as a tool to protect communities and to, I guess, survive. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that religion, we had this conversation a little bit ago with Solid. I wouldn't say that religion would be a tool of liberation, but more of survival. You know,
I don't want to talk about that. That last part that you said, I don't want to talk about that for a specific reason. But
I got you.
But I do like where you're going, and I want to talk about this with the people on the panel before we swap them out. So if you're interested in joining the conversation, make sure you're in the request. We're going to start getting new people in here, but I want to pass it around to the people that's still on the panel currently. The realist therapist. Religion isn't all bad, right?
Right.
I mean, to Jeff's point, there has been some functionality, there has been some use. Has there been anything that you've been able to take from religion that has at least stuck with you and you have been able to use it as a positive?
Absolutely. Religion has allowed us to come together. It's allowed us to be able to create our traditions in America. Mm-hmm. It's allowed us to be able to create something that we can becoming those, African American, Black Americans, to be able to create our own, because our spirituality from our ancestors. And I was thinking about what the other panelists said about witchcraft. When we came over here with our, spirituality practices from the motherland, they deemed that as witchcraft. And because we were using our religion to heal ourselves, they took that away from us. And so part of us kind of creating our own culture and tradition in America, we created and formed our own traditions in the church, because there's a difference between Black people church and white people church. There's a difference. So we it's a little different. So that it's allowed us to create our own sort of practice with our community, and we have been able to create these our own kind of the way that we worship, the way that we sing, the way that how Easter is a big thing in the Black community, and how now that t-shirts and camps and these live streams, we've been able to do so much with what we're now taking from it. And I think that at this day and age in this place, we're learning that we know where the origins came from. And the more we learn, we're being able to reshape it and what something that looks like what we feel comfortable with today. Like we don't have to believe it in the way that we were told to believe in it, but we can worship in a way that feels comfortable and uplifting to us.
Yeah, I agree. And so I'll give a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. And so Jeff knows this because Jeff heard me say this as well. And Kay made fun of me when I said this because she didn't know this. But when it comes to me, right, I'm not an atheist. I know everyone thinks that I'm just a communist atheist that he's a commie atheist, because I hang around so many communists and so many atheists. But fun fact, not an atheist, not a communist. But the thing that I struggle with is whose religion is real, right? And I think that it's hubris of men from 2 points. One, to believe that we are the pinnacle of all, right? For us to somehow believe that there's nothing beyond us, I think that's silly. That's why I also believe in aliens, right? But number two, I think it's silly to believe that anyone has figured out that right religion and someone just has it right and everybody else is wrong. So those are the things that I struggle with. So when it comes to me and religion, realist therapies, I think that you hit it on the head. There are definitely some good things that we can take from it, but we need to ensure that with what we're using is properly used to benefit people. Anyway, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you spending some time with us, and you're welcome back this week.
Thank you, Santana. I'll see you later on this week.
Thank you. Nexus, I want to come to you. Again, I the thing that I had, or the question that I had for the realist therapist was more so was there anything good that that she took away from religion? But the question I have for you is there anything that you actually miss about your religion? Because the one thing that I know, when I was younger and I was sitting in the pews of a Southern Baptist church, we didn't really open the Bible much, but there were a lot of good feelings in there. They made you feel good. And so I have fond memories of the time that I spent in church because of how it made me feel, not because of any substance, but at least from how I felt. Is there anything positive that you can recall that you think about when it comes to religion?
I mean, not really. I think something I should also clarify is that I may be at a bit of a disadvantage because of the fact that although I was raised Jewish, my family was never super religious. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really get I guess you could say I didn't get the full experience. Mm-hmm. So all I really saw was that it wasn't working. I didn't really see what did work. So I can understand and appreciate it working for others. Mm-hmm. But I just never was able to see that.
Okay. Listen, that's understandable. A lot of people get a lot of different things from it, and I think understanding what you should or shouldn't take from it is going to be based off of you. So, I can't knock you for that, especially depending on your experience. Anyway, Nexus, thank you so much for coming up and spending a little time with us. I appreciate you hanging out.
Thank you.
Aria, coming to you. So you did mention that you turned towards witchcraft, right? And rejected like the religion that you had been taught. My question for you is, what made it more appealing for you to engage in witchcraft than the religion that, you know, you were taught by your family?
Well, I wasn't really taught by my family. It was mostly the people I hung out around with, because my mom did put me into like a Christian daycare, or like some, like, I don't know how to explain it, but because she's atheist agnostic, and like I had a friend a while back who was telling me about these things, and I was like, and I did research on it, and then like I figured it out that I liked it more, and that like the religion that I was in was just not for me, and that like because of the other people that I was around.
Okay.
I guess I don't know if
Yeah.
fully explained.
No, that makes sense. I mean, like, fellowship is such a huge part of religion, and it's what connects us, and it makes it easier to want to engage. And if you feel more fellowship from one place than the other, that makes logical sense. Anyway, Aria, thank you so much for coming up and hanging out with us. Thank you for joining the conversation. And
thank you for having me up here.
Absolutely.
It was so fun being up here. I've never been like on a live or anything.
Awesome. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you.
You have a wonderful night.
You as well. All right, guys, I'm going to start bringing people in on TikTok here in just a moment. As I bring you up, guys, please remember, mute yourself. Mute yourself when you come in on the panel. Please, please, please remember, mute yourself, and I will do introductions. But please mute yourself. Vash, coming to you. Vash, I think that understanding the need to deconstruct is super important. But I also think that there's a time and place and space for everyone. Vash, what do you think? Like, is there anything that people really need to start weighing, or anything that they really need to start thinking about if they are considering deconstruction? Because like for me, I would honestly think like if I keep doing the same thing over and over and over, that's the definition of insanity. And if I am practicing this religion and, you know, I'm not necessarily getting any type of positive yield, then like maybe it's time for me to consider something else. But what do you think?
I mean, I feel like it's always worth taking a break from something, because, well, obviously burnout for one thing, but the other, like, when you take a step back and see the broader picture, like, wow, these people are using the Bible to yell at people. That's probably not a good thing. I feel it's good enough to like take a look at that over time, even if it, no matter how long it takes, it's still an important thing to check.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, and like taking self-inventory is huge. So I think that you're spot on with that, and I think there's a lot of benefit that can be pulled from that. But okay, all right, Vash. Well, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you.
Oh, before I go, man, you got to get into Metal Gear Solid at some point. It's so good.
I have to get back on the game. Period. So
it's all about politics and goofy gunplay.
Absolutely. All right.
Anyways,
well, I'm gonna swap you out. Thank you. All right, let's see here, and let's bring. I think this person was waiting the longest, so we're gonna get this person up. All right. Really quick, guys. Debbie's in the chat for Jess for the $2 super chat to say, what's the youngest age you were in church? Honestly, a baby. I don't remember my youngest memories of being in church. I do have pictures of me being a little boy wearing a full-blown 3-piece suit to church. So there's that. Again, guys, if anyone else, Debbie's in the chat for Jess for the super chat. If anyone else would like to support the live, if you enjoy what we do here on late nights, if you want to keep it going, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out, guys. Please, please, please make sure we're taking care of Jeff. Let's get his coins up. Make sure you hit that follow button, and also Jeff's pay links are running in the poll. make sure that we are hitting Jeff's pay links as well. Please show Jeff some love because Jeff is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Also, last call. This is the third account. This is the backup to the backup. So really quick, guys, make sure that you are following this account right here. Follow the third account, the backup to the backup. This is the break glass in case of emergency, but we're going to be doing more on this account. The reason why I'm saying I'm going to give you guys a second to follow it because I'm about to drop this account. So make sure that you are following this account. Please, 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 and thank you. All right, we're going to do a quick introduction, and then, Jeff, I'm coming back to you, okay?
Got it.
Zoe over on YouTube. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Zoe, what would you say your current relationship is with religion? Zoe, are you there? All right, Zoe, I'm gonna mute you. We're gonna give you a second. We'll see if we can come back. Yeah, this is Drew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can I call you Drew? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Perfect. Drew, what would you say your current relationship is with religion?
Well, I'm a recovering Southern Baptist, and I'm more agnostic now because I'm trans, and my parents pretty much tell me I'm going to hell because I'm going against God.
Okay. All right, perfect. Give me a second here. Reba, how are you?
Hi, Santana. How are you?
Good. Reba, what would you say your current relationship is with religion?
I'm currently a polytheistic pagan.
Okay. Perfect. Give me a moment. April, how are you?
Hey, Santana. I'm good. How are you?
Good. April, what would you say that your current relationship is with religion?
Currently, I'm an atheist, but I do some witchy practices as I like meditation and I like symbolism, and it feels good on my ADHD brain to have some of that as part of my daily sort of self-care practices. But unlike my friend below me, I'm not a polytheistic pagan, but respect and that actually, like, as far as religion stuff goes, that I think is super interesting because you have to learn a lot about a lot of different gods, not just one. So
okay.
I think that's like an interesting thing.
Okay. Perfect. All right, one moment. And I think it's Dea or Dia. Is it Dia? Dia, are you there?
Is that over on the YouTube side?
It is. Sorry. Dia, I see that you came off mute, but I'm not seeing you lighting up as if you're saying anything. I see you went back on mute, then came off mute. I want to make sure there's nothing going on. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to just bring you down for a second. Let me check with Darius. Darius, can you say anything?
Yes. Hello, Santana, and hello, Jeff.
Okay, so it's other people. All right, Darius, can you tell the people what is your current relationship with religion?
Sure. So currently, I would classify myself as in the latter stages of deconstruction. I grew up Roman Catholic, but I currently am an atheist.
Okay. Perfect. Give me a moment. All right, and Sean, I'm actually going to put you on ice. I'm not coming to you yet because I said so. All right, Jeff, coming back to you. So we have a whole new crop of people, and it seems like we have different levels of deconstruction. Now, I know there's a couple of other things specifically that you wanted to be able to talk about, and I definitely want to make sure that we get into that, including I think the one that I'm really excited about is the beliefs and whether their beliefs are inherited or if they're examined. Floor is yours. Let's talk about it.
All right. So 2 things here. The first one is this change. It's almost like somebody rolled the dice and just gave us some like we went from one spectrum to the other. So one thing to call out from the first few people that were up is fellowship and how important it is. Notice how everybody was saying that the important thing to them was community as they were like exiting and talking about it. But here we have a lot of people who are either already pretty far in the deconstruction journey or pretty comfortable with where they're going. And I think the first thing I want to go through is and I don't want anybody to share anything that they're not comfortable with, but as you went through your deconstruction, aside from the stuff you've already shared, was there anything that you feel you guys lost that you needed to replace, or is there anything, and you guys can just go in a round robin here, but is there anything that you that surprised you that you lost when going through deconstruction?
Drew, let's start with you.
My family, because everyone in my family is super religious, so I can't go to any functions or anything like that without feeling super weird around them because I know they're judging me.
Okay. Reba, what about you?
Well, let me just ask a quick follow. Have you been able to replace that feeling with the feeling of community elsewhere?
Yes, because I have a husband and kids that are very supportive. So our circle's just small, but like my parents, my brother's a preacher, so he's very anti everything that I am. So yeah, I just replaced it with a closer circle, and my extended family is just really not part of my life.
I'm super glad to hear that. All right, cool. Also know that, everybody on here, I like to think that social media is going to cause more and more deconstruction because we have these communities that we built here. So I'm sure, and you'll see like in the chat, there's a lot of support. So feel free to lean on the community we have here. Sorry, Santana.
No, absolutely. That was a great call out. And again, Jeff, if there's ever like additional questions, you do exactly what you just did. Reba, what about you?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing that I noticed I lost was a lot of my friendships, but I also kind of lost a sense of obligation to do things a certain way. Like growing up, I grew up Christian. My dad was a pastor. So it was just a fact that we woke up, we went to both services of Sunday church. We went to church every Wednesday. We went to Bible group on Tuesday. Like those were just things that we did that I didn't feel like I had a choice of doing. And now I feel like I have more freedom, if that makes sense.
Okay. That is a good one.
That's awesome.
April, what about you?
Hey, I was raised Methodist. I was baptized when I was 10 years old on Palm Sunday. I remember it. I was an acolyte. I was part of a church for a really long time. And I started to step away when I was in school because I had some friends that had sort of like a general religious studies like side group that they were doing. And so we read about other religions and we like went to book signings for some witchy authors and we went to a temple and we went to a monastery and like we traveled. So I started to just be interested in like not Christian religions because I was exposed to it when I was a teenager in high school. So that I think that was like the part that was like I got lucky and was able to start deconstructing relatively young because I got exposed to other things younger. But I did feel like I lost community for sure, but I found it in other ways. But I also feel like I lost the sense of shame that comes from being a woman and everything. Like so much of my idea about how religion functions and is a source of the bad side of it is a source of control is it's so misogynistic in a lot of ways. And I think for me, when I stopped going to church and I started like, you know, being interested in other things, I lost that sense of shame that there was like something wrong with me just because I was a girl or because I was a woman. And it wasn't my job anymore, wasn't that I was put here to find a husband and support a man. And I think that happened, and that was a good thing for me. And like, I think that's a good part of deconstruction for a lot of women is feeling like we don't have to do that. Yeah.
I think that's a great call out. I think that's a great call out, and something I don't think a lot of people ever thought about. I mean, stripping away that shame that religion places on you, that's huge. Okay. Darius, coming over to you. Is there something that you feel like you lost?
Yes, I can identify 3 different things. First,
can you give us your top one?
Sure. I think I would actually go a little bit, how to say it? I'll go a little bit against the grain here and shift this one closer to the top. The sense of restriction in the way that how I view relationships. So previously, when I was deeper into the Roman Catholic belief, I always felt that if I was to seek a romantic partner, they would need to be somebody who is at least Christian and preferably somebody who's also Catholic, just to be able to have that sort of relation, to have that sort of connection, and to not cause any sort of friction. But after separating myself from the Roman Catholic faith, my mind just became so much more open to the idea of having romantic interest in a wider variety of people. I am not going to make a big issue of if my potential partner is of different faith or of any particular faith in general. It'll be something that I'll take note of, and I'll see how far their religious beliefs impacts our relationship. But I no longer feel the need to specifically focus on finding somebody who is either Christian or preferably Roman Catholic. And it is a weight off of my mind.
That has to be. That absolutely has to be the fact that there is so much of a, I would say, necessity to be equally yoked within the religion. That's a huge thing. Okay. All right. Just a moment. Is it Dea or Dia? How do I say your username?
My name is Dodgy.
Dodgy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for some reason it wasn't showing that you were off mute. I was about to say, wait, who's speaking? All right, Dodgy, really quickly, what's your current relationship with religion?
So I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, which is a really strict religion, and I've recently left the church and have started just following Christianity on its own, as opposed to a specific denomination.
Okay, and is there anything that you feel like you've lost since leaving that religion?
I've definitely lost a lot of the pressure. I feel like anybody who's grown up Seventh-day Adventist knows how strict it can be in the church. And being able to just focus on my relationship with God and what I feel like He has to offer me and what I have to offer through Him has allowed me to let go of a lot of the very strict kind of constraints that being part of that specific denomination had on me and had on my worldview and on my view of myself.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Jeff, back to you.
Okay. I'm glad everybody said all that, because I want to focus on the thing that you said, Santana, which is what is the cost of this belief, right? So I want to weigh the losing the community versus what you're losing for having it. And for everybody, that's different. But typically what I see is that there are parts of you that you have to put aside to keep the belief. In Daji, like I heard you say that it's very strict. So maybe there's stuff that you do throughout your day where you just want to be carefree. So you're putting aside some of your mental security for that, right? It could be like your whole identity putting to the side. You have to be you have to mask in various degrees. And so that's something that the reason I wanted everybody to say what it was that they lost and how they replaced it is because the thing that you're losing for keeping it, if you're not going through deconstruction, is not something that you can easily replace, right? Like you can't replace your identity. You can't replace your peace of mind. You can't replace your well-being in some cases. So I think that's something to keep in mind. And I don't know if that's resonated with anybody as they've gone through deconstruction. So I'd like to hear what everybody, like if you've even thought about that, or if this is something that like triggered an aha.
Yeah. Darius, I'll start with you.
If I could get a more clear question out of that, just so that my mind could wrap around a little more.
When you were in religion, does it resonate that the stuff that you were losing for being in a religion, right, was more like the cost of being in was more than the cost of leaving?
Yes, for sure. This ties into actually one of the other things that I identified as being lost, and that would be the sense of, oh wait, actually give me a moment because I had the argument in my head, but now I'm forgetting the words.
No
You're
worries. Good. We can come back with you. Let's go with April. April, what about you?
To answer Jeff's question, in the long term, it was worth it in a lot of ways. In the short term, it was really hard because, like, for me, when I started talking to my parents about not wanting to go to church anymore and that my beliefs were not in alignment with the church anymore, I got grounded, I got punished, all those kinds of things. So in the short term, the cost of leaving felt really expensive because it was causing me to be in trouble for something I didn't understand why I was in trouble for. The long term, though, has been I think beneficial for me as an individual because it's just not. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell, right? So it's hard to be a Christian when I don't believe in those kinds of afterlife places. I don't know how
they're pretty big ones.
Yeah, those are huge. It wipes me out immediately. I think there's usefulness in some of the teachings of religion, but I think we can still have ethics without religion. I still think morality exists outside of religion. I think that a lot of religion borrows from each other, which makes sense, is okay. But I also think it's okay for people, being a person is hard. And I think having some faith in something is a self-soothing thing. And it can be like witchcraft, or it can be like Christian God, or it can be like multi-theist, or it can be whatever. But I understand the human want to have something that they, I don't know, can lean on, whether that's prayer or whatever. For me, it is the sort of ritual aspect of certain things, but that's just because I'm ADHD. It helps slow my brain down. It helps me focus, but it doesn't have to do with me being super attached to or believing that the things I'm doing have magical significance to other people. But I would say that they have magical significance to me, because it calms my nervous system. It does. There's a real life effect that I can feel and that can be measured. So I don't know. But to answer your question, I'm sorry. To answer your question, I think the cost was really high in the beginning, but over time, it showed that it was worth it.
That makes sense.
Good. Reba?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of agree with kind of what everyone else has said so far. I think that the cost of staying in was definitely higher than the cost of being out. Like I said, I felt a certain obligation. I've never really, I think I started questioning Christianity at a really young age when I started seeing like the hurt it was causing not only the people around me, but like the country and the world in general. Like there's just a lot of things that they teach about love and whatever, and then they don't act that way. And I'm not saying all Christians are like that, obviously. I know a lot of good Christians, but it just as a whole, it was just causing more hurt than help, which I think caused problems for me. And so I was very much unsettled, like within myself being Christian. But now that I'm out of that, I feel like I can do all the things that Christians do, like she said. Like you don't just get morality from religion. And a lot of people ask, if you don't believe in God, you're not afraid of going to hell. What stops you from doing bad things? And it's I'm not a bad person. Like I still want to do the good things, but I can do them separate from it, like the whole religion causing harm and having to be associated with this religion that's causing more harm than good, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Drew, what about you?
Yes. I think the cost was high, but now I finally have a peace that I never had growing up. Growing up as a minister's kid, there was a lot of pressure to be perfect. And now that I came out as trans, I don't have that pressure anymore of feeling like I'm going to go to hell for being trans or for anything I've done. So, yeah.
Okay. And I know I'm going to mess up your name again because I forgot what you said it is.
Daji.
Got it. Daji. Daji, what about you?
I don't think I really lost much, specifically when I left the Seventh-day Adventist Church or even some of the non-denominational churches that I would visit, because during my time in those churches, my family and I faced extreme racism. Like, I know my profile picture probably doesn't look like it, but we are very Hispanic, and we faced a lot of racism when we were in the church. I got kicked out of my Seventh-day Adventist elementary school because I was the only Hispanic person there and I acted differently than everyone else. I learned that churches are very corrupt, that the people that run them are very corrupt, but I was also raised to trust in God and not man. So I think the gain was a lot higher when I started to just trust my own walk with Christ and my own walk with religion in general than to trust in the church and to trust in the way that people treat me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And coming back to you, Darius.
Yes, thank you. That was enough time to help me gather my thoughts. So, yes, the cost of staying within the Catholic faith for me was very high. And that cost was my own identity. I had to, in a sense, I had to mask from myself. I had to set aside all the different inconsistencies that I noticed whenever reading the Bible with my family when we're praying. I had to set aside the inconsistencies in the sermons that I hear every Sunday. I had to put aside all the inconsistencies with the Catholic Church on a global scale and how much harm the church has caused historically and even today. I had to put all of that to the side instead of engaging in critical thinking and instead of trusting in my own personal sense of morality. I had to put all of that aside to remain in this identity. And then when I started deconstructing, I took that mask off and I put on a new mask of now hiding myself from my family and the community around me. I couldn't come out and openly say, I don't believe in this faith anymore. I don't agree with the things that are being said. I need to explore the contradictions. I need to explore why everything feels so off. And it took a while before I found a couple of people within the church that I could open up to about this. And I'm grateful for those couple of people because they helped me to refine my own thought process until I could finally comfortably say, I am no longer a part of this faith. So the cost of being within the faith was damage to my own psyche, my own identity, and my own mental health. But once I started deconstructing and I lowered that cost, I set aside that cost, that mask, and put on the new mask of masking from others until finally taking all the masks off. That was incredibly important for me. So now I just feel a lot more free.
Okay. W's in the chat for the Ari raid. Welcome in, Ari raid. Guys, as you get in, tap the screen, share the live. Send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. Also, for everyone, guys, can we knock out the high bears? That's the gift goal. Can we knock out the high bears? I know there's a ton of people in the request. We're going to try to get as many people in as we can, but just a reminder, this is the first night of Deconstructing Religion on late nights. So we will be doing this for the next 3 nights. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We will be doing this as well. I know there's a ton of people over on TikTok requesting. There's a ton of people on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram that's requesting. We're going to get as many people in. So if you're in the request, hold tight. If we don't get you up for some reason before the end of the live, I'll try to remember the people and we'll get you in tomorrow, but we're going to get as many people in as possible. Last thing I'll say, if you like to support the live, if you enjoy what we do here on late nights, then please consider supporting the live. The best way to do so, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and link in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. But guys, make sure we're taking care of Jeff because Jeff is guiding this conversation overall. And Jeff is someone who is giving his time, energy, and effort. So please, let's make sure we're taking care of Jeff. Jared, why are you being in the comments being weird? Again, Jeff, they're being weird. I don't know. Anyway, Jeff, you got it.
Yeah, I don't know, that L stuff threw me off. Yeah, so being that the cost, you know what, there's a thing that we talk about in a lot of the deconstruction spaces. This is something that my friend, I like to say my friend Bash talks about, Pink Beard, and that's the God speaker. And so there's something in all of your stories that kind of resonates with me, and that's the fact that people tell you, God says this about you, and so they become the God speaker, right? Like they become the person who is interpreting the judgment. And so when you kind of take over your own, like what you said, I think Daja, you mentioned that you took over your own walk in your faith. You remove that God speaker, and whether you walk away or you stay, that's another element, right? Like it's knowing who it is that's feeding you the rule set that the whatever deity or whatever religion says you have to follow. Because something about the God speaker is that the God speaker is not ever the wrong one, right? Like if the pastor at the church has an addiction to eating cashews, it's never going to be a sin to eat cashews. You know what I mean? If they have like some churches, if they have multiple spouses, it's never going to be a sin to have multiple spouses. That's just one of the rules, right?
What about if they drive Bentleys and like fly on like high wires during sermons?
Yeah, that, you know, you get your prosperity preachers. It's never going to be a sin. Even no matter what any scripture says, it's never going to be a sin to live in excess. It's never going to be whatever it is that their vice is as the God speaker. That's never the wrong thing to do. It's always what you're doing. So kudos to y'all. I don't really have a question here, but kudos to y'all for like at least identifying that you have to take over your walk in that regard. I do want to know if you guys have any questions for me because we've been kind of interviewing y'all. But do you guys have any questions for me in general about deconstruction or about any of the stuff that we've talked about?
Yeah, you know what? That would actually that's perfect. Let's do this. Drew, coming back to you. Because I know that different people are in different phases of their deconstruction journey, and I know that it can be a challenging thing. Jeff mentioned how community is so important and being able to have community. And so I think this is an awesome opportunity. So Drew, any questions for Jeff, whether it be, anything that you're looking for will help with your deconstruction, any, questions as far as advice, anything at all?
I don't know about question. I just want to know, like, how do I get to be 100% okay with my decision? Because I was raised to, that everything I do, I'm going to hell for. So how do I get out of that mindset 100%? Because I still struggle with it a little bit.
That's going to be a process. My first suggestion is to invest in your mental health, whatever that looks like. I don't know if that would look like. I think mental health care is always probably the most important type of self-care you can have, because without your mind, nothing else works. So whether that is signing up for therapy, whether that is going to seeking community and talking in a community of people who maybe go through the same thing. But it's not a today to tomorrow type thing. One thing, even for people who are super religious in the throes of religion and are not moving away, I always like to say that this isn't something they did, it's something that was done to them. So you have to undo the thing that was done to them. And maybe you don't get 100%, maybe you get 95%, maybe you get 90%. But the trick is to keep working at it until you're comfortable. And then that's the best advice I can give, is to just keep working at it and look for different solutions to your care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Drew, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you hanging out with us this evening.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Reba, what about you? Questions or anything that you have?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I think the biggest thing I would ask is, obviously I'm being very public about my religion on this forum, and I have a community of people who I am very public with my religion about, but I haven't told my family or a majority of my friends from home, mostly because I'm still scared about what their reaction will be. I don't think that my parents are gonna disown me or anything. I just don't think it's gonna end well. So my biggest question, I guess, would be how you make it okay within yourself. How do you get ready to tell people who still are very deep in a certain type of belief when you believe pretty much the exact opposite of them? I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
It does. And the reason it does make sense is because I masked for a long time myself. And most of the reason that I masked is because I only operate, if you've seen me on any type of platform, I only operate on 2 speeds. There's this and explosion. So I wanted to avoid exploding on people. So I just, shut up, Sean. So I just masked and let it rock the way it rocked. Right. But when you do tell people what your new paradigm is for faith, the number one thing is to say, to establish boundaries, and keep telling yourself that boundaries are for you to, they're not for the other person. They're for you to enforce, right? You communicate boundaries to the other person, but you're responsible for enforcing them. So if you say, hey, this is where I'm at, and somebody doesn't want to respect that boundary, you enforce that boundary. Just be prepared to do that.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up, Reba. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me up, Santana.
Absolutely. April, what about you? What questions or comments do you have?
I'm not sure if this was already addressed before I joined, but I wondered if Jeff was religious or grew up in a religious household and had to deconstruct, and if so, like, what was the thing that made you realize, like, hey, this is not for me?
Oh man, you're begging me to do the capitalism. All right, so yeah, I was raised Catholic, and I was confirmed in the year of our Lord 1996, and shortly after that, I started deconstructing over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not going to go into the whole story because it is in the Extinction Files, the entire story. And not only is the entire story in the Extinction Files at endofaspecies.com, but it's also narrated by me. There's a little audio file at the top of the blog post where I just read it out. The story is kind of fun, kind of interesting, but the deconstruction process, I looked up, I pretty much gave every god a chance to audition for me, and they all got the "it's a no from me" dog. So that's the long and short of it. But it really did spark over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
It's a good place to spark as any, I guess. That's funny though. All right. Well, thank you.
Right. Perfect. Thank you, April. I appreciate you. And Darius, what about you? Questions or comments?
Yes, I do have a question for Jeff, but first I would like to say thank you to you, Santana, because I know you don't have to read out every donation that you get and the messages with that, but it really makes me feel extra warm and special that, mine are included among them.
Well, but your messages are always good. So like you always have some substance. So no, I appreciate the heck out of you. I try to just make sure that I highlight the things that people say, but you always have, it's either something witty or something insightful. So I appreciate your messages.
Well, thank you for that. Okay. For Jeff, you mentioned at the start that conversations surrounding deconstruction can potentially be dangerous if somebody who is listening in is not yet ready for the deconstruction. So my question for you is, how do you personally gauge whether or not something you're saying might potentially trigger a deconstruction in somebody who is not ready for it?
You take inventory of the person constantly. Sometimes you might hear me say as a joke, here's your chance to take that back. And that's like in a political conversation, that's a rattlesnake rattle saying something, you're going to get cooked. But in a religious conversation, you have to be you have to be actively listening. You have to be very aware of the conversation. You have to know if somebody's engaging honestly, because sometimes there are people who are really entrenched. And while those conversations can be frustrating in a debate, for accidentally triggering deconstruction, you're not going to do it if somebody's just not engaging honestly. They're just dug in their heels. I'll tell you like a really brief story. There's a well-known atheist named Matt Dillahunty, and he used to do shows on a show called The Atheist Experience. And he had a conversation with an older woman, and the whole thing lasted less than 10 minutes. And because they were talking so fast, she immediately, like when she realized what was going on in the conversation, she started sobbing. And she was a woman who was in her 60s. And it turns out that when she was 13, her sister, I'm going to say unalived, and she had been for that whole part of her life thinking, I'm going to see my sister when I pass. And in that moment, she had a doubt of whether or not she was going to see her sister. And so she like that's one of those things. Now that couldn't really be, if you ever look up that video, I don't even know how I could like point you to it, but if you ever see that situation, it was one of those things that couldn't be helped. And sometimes it can't be helped, right? Like people who are going into these conversations, they also have a sort of a responsibility to make sure that they're like understanding what this conversation is. But for me, the active listening, the constantly taking inventory of people, those are two things that I do a lot when I'm talking about this stuff, so that I'm not like pushing somebody over a ledge that they're not consenting to go over.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate you for the depth of your answer. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you, Darius.
Thank you both. Santana and Jeff, have a wonderful night.
You too. All right. So there are a lot of people still requesting to get up here. But not only is there a lot of people, we are running low on time. So, and I called an audible. There's something that I want to do, but I'm not telling you guys what I want to do. But before I do that, let's do this really quick. If there's anyone in the request, because I saw one person that said, oh, they had a question for Jeff. If there's anyone in the request that has a question for Jeff and they wanted to come up and have their question answered, go ahead and stay in the request, and I'll get a couple of people in just for some questions. But if you wanted to actually be able to fully join the conversation, drop out for tonight, but we'll be able to have we'll pick back up on the full-blown conversation tomorrow, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Again, this is only night 1 of 4 nights. So if we don't get to you tonight, we have 3 more nights to have this full-blown conversation. But if you have a question, stay in the request. If you wanted to join the actual conversation, drop out, we'll get you in tomorrow. I'm still going to keep Sean on ice because Sean is up here for the thing that I want to do, but you got to wait. So,
hey, yo.
Exactly. So I'm going to give you guys just a few moments. Again, if you wanted to join the full-blown conversation, just go ahead and drop for me for now. And again, we'll get you in here tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at some point. But if you have a question, you can stay. While I let people do what they got to do, just a couple of quick thank yous. I want to say W's in the chat for Great Britain 23 for the $4.99 super chat to say, despite being an atheist, Christianity is a huge part of English history, especially with the architecture, with the cathedrals and so on. Yes, it is. It is. Debbie's in the chat for M. Allison for the $1.99 super chat to say, God is good all the time. Atheist. I know that's right. Debbie's in the chat for that. Debbie's in the chat for Trisha. Trisha sent a $25 donation saying, best topic yet. Thanks, Santana. Thank you, Trisha. I appreciate the heck out of you. And last but not least, Debbie's in the chat for Gabriella. Gabriella said, I grew up a Christian, conservative, racist, sexist, homophobic family, and I'm a bisexual, liberal, pagan, autistic 26-year-old woman who really knows the Bible. I can't join tonight, but I'm really excited to join your lives tomorrow if possible. Absolutely. Well, Gabriella, I look forward to having you up here. W's in the chat for you. And Jeff, has anyone sent you anything? Any thank yous you need to get off?
Not that I've seen, but that's okay. That's not what I'm here for. I will say that, and I saw it in the poll, if you want to support End of the Species, we are expanding and growing. go to the website, hit the support link just to help me track. And so send your support there. So endofaspecies.com/support. And yes, Melly, I will be here all week. If you're going to send me anything, do it through the website, please.
Okay. For everyone else, if you want to support the live, if you enjoy what we do here at Late Nights and you want to keep it going, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and Linktree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Ash, you said you had a question for Jeff.
Hi, Santana. Thanks for having me up.
Absolutely.
Hey, so I want to give you guys just a quick background. I was raised Southern Baptist in a conservative Christian household. I am liberal agnostic and I'm disabled. I was born disabled. So a lot of my childhood, they had a lot of praying over me with hands on me. And as a child, I didn't really understand, my faith wasn't strong enough to heal me. Something was wrong with me. I wasn't praying hard enough. I wasn't believing hard enough. And then once I really started to read the Bible and see how none of it made logical sense to me, and every question I would ask never really got answered, the way that I could understand it as a child. So that's when I started kind of deconstructing in my late teens and educating myself on other religions and seeing how much is taken from other religions and turned into Christianity, and how it's pretty much just adapted all these different stories from older religions into what it is, and basically see it for the big pile of shit that it is. But unfortunately, I'm the only... Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Unfortunately, I'm the only liberal in my family. So it's difficult when the rest, especially like, my mom, I have a very close relationship with my mother. And I think being born disabled and needing someone in the hospital with me growing up, we formed a very close relationship, and I didn't have that with my father. But she's MAGA, she's conservative Christian, and I've tried for the past 10 years to try to get her to understand what's really happening. And that's a whole different discussion because that's just an ongoing battle. But, I love her dearly. I care for her deeply. And I know that she worries for my soul because she feels like when I die, I'll lose this disabled body and all this pain and be able to be in heaven with her. And, it will just fix everything. And it's so hard for me to find a way to express to her, I'm glad she has her religion. I see that it brings her comfort, but it's just not for me. And how do I do that without breaking her heart? Because I feel like I'm always breaking her heart and letting her down.
That's a good question. Look, my parents are still Roman Catholic. They go to church every Sunday. I don't want my parents to deconstruct, right? Even if I had the ability to start them on that journey, I think they're way too far in their journey.
Into it.
Yeah,
I agree. My parents are boomers, and so it's just a different generation.
Yeah. So in the same way that there's certain things I don't talk to my parents about because maybe it's just none of their business. I don't talk to them about that. Like they, in my case, they have a pretty good sense of where I stand, but I don't rub it in their face as far as what that is. And I think atheism is something different than other immutable characteristics, where I wouldn't say don't be gay around your parents, right? Like I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say like don't be black around your parents. But I can stay my hand if somebody tells me, hey, I went to mass. I don't have to be like, I don't believe that stuff, right? Like I don't. That's not my stuff, right? Like I'll listen. Every conversation I have with my mother, if I sneezed yesterday and I feel okay today, she'll immediately, and in Spanish, dale gracias a Dios, like immediately, thank God I just take that. It's cool. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me, but it means something to her, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I've been dealing with it. Like, we don't really talk about politics or religion because, like I said, I've tried the past 10 years with the whole Trump situation. And it just seems to get her upset for some reason. She feels like I'm attacking her beliefs when I'm really not, because I know that her religion brings her comfort. And I know that it's something that, you know, settles her spirit. And I'm not one to knock what anybody else believes. I just don't believe that it should be in our government making our laws. I don't, you know, I think freedom of religion and freedom from religion for everyone.
Yep. Well, look, Ash, I'm going to drop you down because I wanted to just have a couple of quick questions and I want to get to that. But thank you so much for coming up with that question. I really appreciate you. Okay.
Thanks for having me up. You have a great night. Hopefully I'll catch you guys again soon. All right. Bye-bye.
The famous half sour. Did you have a question for Jeff?
Yes. Hello. Thank you for letting me up. I just have a quick question. What would you do about the community around you, as like if you were an atheist, pushing you into religion?
Just really quick for TikTok purposes. How old are you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna drop you, but Jeff can still answer.
I actually can't in this case, because if the person is, I don't really want to give advice to somebody who is
that's fair
underage in this regard, because it can be dangerous. So I'm just going to stay my hand here and
that's fair.
Let that linger in the air. I do want to say one quick thing, and that is religious beliefs and voting records, they might be tied, but they're not the same, right? So for people who are saying, hey, what about if they voted for person X? My own feelings on electoral politics aside, it is okay for you to tell people that are close to you that the things that they do have an effect on you. That is okay. Like that's one of the things that you can do to say like, hey, when you do this, this is the effect you have on me, especially if they're supposed to be people who love you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. 1 second here. Darcy, did you have a question for Jeff?
Yes, I do. It's DRC, by the way.
DRC.
Think of the letters DR and C.
DRC.
Yes. Thank you for having this conversation, by the way. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I plan on joining tomorrow so I can ask further questions. But my question to you, Jeff, is how do we deconstruct Christianity when the institution is so heavily tied to our community as Black people? I've been far separated from the church for years. I'm more spiritual now, but I grew up Christian. And I think if you talk to most Black people, it's hardcore ingrained into who we are. So when it comes time to deconstruct, it can feel like we're losing a part of ourselves. So yeah, that's my question.
No, you can't
might
answer
be
that
too
question.
deep.
No. It's not.
Is it too
It's
deep?
not that. It's not that. It's okay. We're not gonna have you answer that question just for a specific reason, but I will say thank you for coming up and just hang tight. You'll see why.
Okay.
All right. 1 second.
All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right.
I get it. I see you, Santana.
Hold on. Wait. Give it a second. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna do a thing. Boom. And then I want to send this to one other person.
Rut. Did that go through?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Boom. And there's one other person. Where are they? Hopefully they'll get here soon. Noah, get to your phone. I know Noah isn't paying attention. The only person waiting on is Noah. Like he's late as usual. All right, we're just gonna start without Noah. Forget it. All right, Jeff, Sean, Solid, Swan, Ari. Here's my premise. So we've been talking about religion and deconstruction of religion. And my premise that I would love to hear you all kind of break down, pick apart, affirm, disavow, whatever. There is no Black liberation with the Black church. Sean, you've been on ice for the longest. I'll let you start.
Well, about time. Okay, I'll start with this. So, the Black church encompasses many different things. The Black church is not like a monolith. I will say this. I know that there's specific things for the Black church, for me and like my people, Akata. And I know that there's a different kind of structure, if for lack of a better term, for the Black church, for different people throughout the diaspora and Black people within the motherland. The issue with the Black church and liberation is that I think that I can't see the Black church being any form of liberative, seeing as how it encourages idealisms that restrict Black people in particular from going for our freedoms. Because the ideas of these religions in general, all these religions in general, tend to be passive. It tends to be a wait for a savior rather than go out and do something against your oppressor. And I'm gonna leave it there for now.
Solid.
Apologies, I was I was getting ready to fall asleep here.
Go ahead and get the eye boogers out.
Yeah. Ditto. No, I think as well, magical thinking keeps you from class consciousness. I tell my sister a lot. We joked 2 years back. Was that 2 or 3 years back? That I grew up in the 90s watching things like Surf Ninjas. You ever seen Surf Ninjas?
I played the game.
Wait a minute, there was a Surf Ninjas game?
On the phone? Yes.
Get out of here.
Oh, no, I'm thinking Subway Surfer. Never mind.
Oh, you think it's Subway Surfer? Surf Ninjas was a movie. There were things like The Whiz Kid or The Whiz or the Wizard or whatever. There were a slew of movies back in the 90s where there was an objective that the main character would have, right? And there was no real building to like whatever their expertise was, whatever their magical power was. The thing that they needed to learn throughout the movie was simply to believe in themselves. And once the main character in these movies simply believed in themselves, they could do all kind of shit. They could do choreograph dances for songs that they've never heard. They could do ninjutsu, right? This was magical thinking. I think I was trained as a kid to think of this as, you know what I mean, as simply believing in myself. In that way, magical thinking about metaphysical interventions. You know, some ghost, some spirit is going to come out of the woodwork and save you, right? Much in that vein. I think that keeps you from theorizing, understanding that the understanding that's necessary to even engage in the praxis of saving yourself and saving your community.
Okay. Swan probably on somebody else's panel right now. I'll put money on it. Somebody check the other lives. I'm willing to bet that Swan is on somebody else's panel right now.
Swan live right now.
That has to be.
Swan raid to Swan's live.
Exactly. What about you, Swan? What do you think?
So I think I used to go to church when I was younger, but I was terrible. Like it just never sunk in. When they said close your eyes, my eyes were open. When people started speaking in tongues, I started laughing. I just was not with it. Like I just was a bad kid in church. But I couldn't stand it. But I think the reason why though is because I grew up in a predominantly white area, and my mom was Catholic. So y'all already know the tall white Jesus candles and all that stuff. If you Caribbean, you know what I'm talking about.
3.
What you said? What? There were 3 white Jesus candles. 3 white Jesus candles.
3.
3, yes. So yeah, but when I would go there, right? I think for me, growing up in a predominantly white town, sometimes I would be the only Black person, or my family would be the only Black people in a building. So when we would walk in, I would just see people talking to each other, engaging with each other. I never felt a connection to the people that were there. Obviously their photos of Jesus was white, right? So it just kind of was very off-putting for me. So I don't necessarily understand it from like feeling that shift of having to deconstruct. But what I can say is if I'm walking into this place, right, where they're telling me that this is, the place where I'm going to get everything that I need, and I feel disconnected towards it. Now I know it's because of race and racism. I definitely think that it's something that needs to just be dropped altogether. For me, it just serves no purpose, I think. I also think that it boxes you into thinking in specific ways, right? Like when you have a conversation with a Christian person, it's going to be, or a Catholic person, right? It's going to be, you need to be pure, morality, all of those things. And I think it doesn't allow you to question things. It doesn't allow you to the freedom to just think freely, if that makes sense. And I think that being able to think outside of the box is crucial to liberation, right? So why would I want to, continue on with this, this religion that could, change my brain chemistry and all of those things, thinking that that's going to be helpful during liberation? It just seems like it would be harmful to liberation, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Also, what I would say, I feel sorry for you. You grew up with white Jesus. I didn't grow up with white Jesus. I had Black Jesus.
Listen, and we lived around the school from a Catholic church. It was bad. They be asking me questions.
My Jesus had dreads, Swan. I don't know about all that. That blue eye, blonde hair. My Jesus had dreads.
Yeah, no, this one was definitely the blonde hair and the blue eyes. But they be talking about stuff, and I just be like, yeah, I can't relate. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So let me just goof around. But that's it.
Ari, what about you?
So unfortunately for me, my Jesus was also white.
Oh!
And I'm going to come back tomorrow because I do want to join the conversation because I literally was just talking about this on my panel when we were deconstructing misogyny and how that's relevant to the church. And so I'll share my story tomorrow. But I did grow up Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic school I did it all. But for me, actually, as soon as I heard this question, I ran to my library because I always got a book for something.
Nerd!
I did. And there is this book right here. It's called When God Was a Woman, right? And this is by Merlin Stone. And this basically what it talks about. And you see my dog goes, because I was getting ready for bed. But this basically talks about that a lot of times people attribute the rise of patriarchy with the rise of the agricultural boom. But what it argues is that actually there were still matriarchal societies during the agricultural boom. But this is what solidified it, was the rise and spread of the Abrahamic religions, the patriarchal religions. It even gets into Greek and Roman mythology a little bit as well. But if you ever want to see the liberation of women at all, right? Christianity, the Abrahamic religions, all patriarchal religions must go. We will never see liberation of women, femme-presenting people, gender expansive people till these belief systems go away. So this book makes really good arguments for that because it gives anthropological evidence how the Abrahamic religions deliberately erase the existence of femme-presenting deities. I bet y'all didn't know that before the Abrahamic religion existed. There were femme-presenting deities overwhelmingly throughout societies, right? But the Abrahamic religions, when they're talking about do not follow false idols, those false idols that it was predominantly attacking were femme-presenting deities. Were femme-presenting deities to erase women's stature within society, because women prior to the Abrahamic religion were overwhelmingly more respected. So if you want the liberation of women at all, it needs to go. Also, I argue from reading this book, you see the very same tools, the very same template used for the subjugation of women and femme-presenting people are the same exact stepping stones and tools used for chattel slavery and the creation of race. The same propaganda, the same language, the same tactics were used. So I always argue the Abrahamic religion was literally the template for white supremacy. So if you want to see the freedom of Black people overall, the Abrahamic religion must go. But secondly, I have a second book for you guys. Also, in understanding how this harms Black women too. Unapologetic, a Black queer feminist mandate for radical movements is also a really good book for it. It's very liberal for my take. I think it's like baby socialist, like liberal on your way to socialist takes for me. So I was like, when I read it, because I was already too radical for it. But what this does is it gives a perspective of the Black church as well. And it talks about how the Black church, yes, in some aspects helped Black women, but it more talks about like that can be attributed to the fact that it builds community rather than the actual belief in religion, because it talks about how also Black women were disrespected in the Black church, overspoken, abused, and other things. So if you really want to start unpacking these structures as Black people, I would highly recommend you guys read this book as well.
Okay. Appreciate it, Ari. Jeff, what about you?
All right, check it. So, Santana, what % liberation is the minimum that we accept?
100.
100%. Everybody agreed?
All in
Church. All right, check it out.
I tried to give somebody like that food analogy. I don't know if you gave it to me or solid or whatever. I messed that analogy all the way up. Like, just completely destroyed the analogy. Anyway, I just thought about it when you said that.
So, by the way, W to Danielle for the $2 in PayPal and your kind words. I love talking about this stuff. So you don't even have to thank me for being here. I could talk about this. You could ask any of the people on this panel right now. I could talk about this literally all day. This is what I mean about auditioning gods. In 1 Kings 18, Elijah goes and mocks the other god prophets and says, "Hey, why don't you put a sacrifice to your god, but don't light it on fire. See what happens." And they call out to the god and nothing happens. And then he goes, "All right, I'm going to put my altar together, and we're going to soak the wood in water. Boom, 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 water, water, water. And God brings fire down and takes out the whole thing, and we won. I need y'all to be more revolutionary than the church. I'm telling you, when I talk to people, I'm dead serious. If I say, how are you feeding people? And I see a church that's got a whole thing of food for unhoused people, I'm going to look at that and be like, yo, that's dope. When y'all go, hey, let's deconstruct, I'm going to be like, what are you doing? Because if y'all not doing better than the church, they're going to stay at the church because that's where the food is at. Right? Think about the fact that we're not leaving the church because the church is better than the people we're voting for. They're not doing nothing. So we got to do better than that. And that's a pretty low bar because it's just food and sermons. That's it. Right? So when I say audition the gods, if the God can outpace us, then that's the game. Just like you guys could look this up. First King is 18. Read it. Like it's literally like, hey, I'm mocking you. I mock God all the time. Godbounty.com is literally me mocking God. Me saying, I'm going to do better than you. This is what I need y'all to do. Y'all do I love when we get together for community. I love when we support each other. I love when we share knowledge and education. But when it comes to the revolution part, look, anybody who knows me knows I believe in this extinction stuff. I've done the math. I want to be so wrong. I want to be like, yo, I missed carrying a 1 somewhere. But that's up to y'all. That's up to y'all, right?
Yeah.
So I agree. Ain't no liberation coming from the church. It's potlucks and sermons. But for the liberation to come at all, we have to do better than that.
Yeah. I was in a Discord and apparently someone got their tidy whities in a bunch because they heard me say that if there's revolution and there's anyone that stands in the way of revolution to uphold white supremacy, then we're going to make them face the wall. They got mad at me for saying that.
Who?
Take a guess.
They're going to face the wall.
Yeah. They got mad. They said, oh, you're advocating for violence. They were so upset. I said, listen, the only person that would have an issue with dismantling white supremacy is a white supremacist. And then they didn't say anything else after that. Anyway, okay. One more question for you guys. Hot takes. Let's get the hot takes out the door. Religious hot takes. I'll start. And then Solid, I'm going to put it on you to follow. Here's my religious hot take. You're not really religious. You're just sexually frustrated. Maybe if you indulged a little bit, you wouldn't be so uptight. That's my hot take. Solid, what about you?
Yeah. Okay, so this is about actually church dudes. Church dudes are super corny. I don't think that's a hot take. I think
that's kind of mild. Okay. Swan, what about you?
I would say it kind of is something that's gonna grow in a place of shame, if that makes sense, right? because religion would be the thing that you rely on to, I guess, tell you what your morals should be, right? But then when you have wait, sorry, can you say the question again? Because I feel like I'm overthinking it.
Religious hot take, just something that needs to be said that people aren't saying about religion.
Yeah. I mean, it takes away accountability, right? Like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this thing, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna be Christian again. I think that's well, I mean, I agree with Solid in saying that that's like a man thing because of how they socialize and stuff. But I do think that it could place that part of yourself in a shameful place. And I think many people struggle with the things that are in their life in the shameful place, if that makes sense. And if you keep on suppressing it, right, which religion is going to cause them to do that more and more and more. If you keep on suppressing it, then it could turn into, a nasty beast later on down the road.
Yep. That's why they're not
change
really. Go ahead.
You can't just leave the church. You have to fight the church.
Oh, shit. Oh, excuse me. Snap. Actually, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one.
Bars.
Ooh.
You know what?
The further you stray, the more secular church will become, so that they can absorb you.
Ooh. Okay.
You have to actively fight.
Ari, what's your religious hot take?
Dang it, Solid, because I always say knuckle up. That's always my thing. I'm like, yo, knuckle up. But yeah, no, my thing is if you're actually for the liberation of people and marginalized identity, you're not actually religious. You're just uncomfortable with I don't know, right? And then if you actually are religious, right, then you're okay with sexual violence. And then you must admit that. You cannot separate the patriarchal beliefs that are set under these religious beliefs away from them. Like the Christian God is inherently, the Abrahamic God is inherently patriarchal, which allows for sexual violence. And you must come to terms with that. And I say this because I saw a feminist who was like, the Christian belief is so liberating. Girl, bye. No, get out my face.
Jeff, what about you?
The louder you yell, the more I think you are atheist. The stronger you push your faith in my face, the more I think you are atheist. The more you preach, the more you jump into debates that ain't got nothing to do with you, the more I think you are atheist. The people that I think are the most devout are the people that keep to themselves and only share with the people that they think they can reach. And they're not out here saying you're going to hell, because that don't feel good. It don't feel like, if you really believe it, like if you're going around, you really believe it. Like, think about it. If you thought that for somebody not believing something, they're going to go in a meat grinder, you're not going to go around saying, hey, you're going to go in a meat grinder. Ha ha. So the more you yell, the more you scream, the more I think you don't really believe this shit.
Okay. Sean, so the reason why, for anyone who doesn't know, the reason why I came to Sean last is because Sean is literally the person that I get to say stuff that I can't say, but I want said. So, Sean, you have the highest bar. What's your religious hot take?
There's a few hot takes that I have about religion. One of the ones is that religion is a crutch. It sounds like it's not that hot of a take because people utilize it in order to just justify the things that they don't really know anything about. But that's not really what I mean. I mean that people utilize religion as a crutch in order to avoid revolutionary action because they're afraid of being free. Another hot take that I typically have about religion is that it's kind of like Jeff's, where like the louder you yell about the stuff, the less we believe that you believe in it. But it's more so the fact that it's like the louder you yell about it, the more I'm thinking that you're just trying to convince yourself that you believe in it. Because like you're not going to convince me by yelling. You're not going to convince me with fervor. That's not going to do a thing. You're justifying it to yourself. I was reading, I talk about Susan Collins a lot because I like Susan Collins. I like The Hunger Games. She just wrote a new book, Sunrise on the Reaping. And one of the main characters, Plutarch Heavensby, has a saying in it where he's teaching the District 12 tributes how to win over a crowd. And he says, make them respond emotionally first. He said, remember, public opinion is driven by emotion. People have an emotional response to something, and then they come up with an argument for why it logically makes sense. This is exactly what religion does. It is the tactic that religion does. Everyone who's fallen for religion has fallen for an emotional response and then has justified it later on. This is why when we point things out, they make things up about the book and say that the book doesn't say what it actually says, or make things up about people who couldn't have possibly, like people who were here 100 years before their biblical figure saying, no, they actually saw them in the flesh. You're making an argument for your emotional response. And one of the biggest emotional responses for Black people is obviously white supremacy. And I don't mean like we've been embedded within white supremacy, so we've learned to adapt for white supremacy. I mean that like when it comes to Black people have never been taught how to love Black people. As a matter of fact, Black people have never been taught how to not hate Black people. And religion gives us an out for that. And that goes back into my using religion as a crutch, because most Black people who utilize religion to continue to justify the hatred of Black people and Black liberation.
Hey, Jeff, get a load of this chick making sense and stuff. Okay.
Wait, guys. Okay. One last thing. One last thing, really quickly, guys. Let us take a moment to bring shame to the house of Noah, for he dodged us for this entire conversation, but yet joins at the end to say inflammatory things about religion.
Not only that, he successfully rage baited your chat. They're mad at him right now.
He did.
They're mad at him.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Which I'm good with that.
Can I say one last hot take that I have about religion?
Yeah.
Yeah. This hot take I got from one Live to Be Great.
Uh-oh.
Man, that shit ain't real.
Sean, listen, I tell you this. Sean is the only person that comes up on this panel every time and just disregards the fact that it's late nights. Sean says whatever she wants every single time. Sean, I'm gonna stop inviting you in the house.
My bad, Mama Jones. I'm sorry, Mama Jones. But I will not pause.
Every time.
I will not pause. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm sorry, Mama Jones, but I will not pause.
Noah, what you got?
Yeah, I don't have like a scathing indictment of religion. I didn't grow up religious, so it wasn't something I had to like deconstruct or anything. But I did have a homie that I was super close with who was really active in the church, and he used to play music in the church. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, was he a tambourine player?
Nah, saxophone. Yeah, but
W.
Yeah, you already know, Swan. But I went to his church somewhat recently, and his brother's gay, and he gave like, a little sermon about essentially trying to repress sexuality. He didn't say it in regards to himself, but the sermon was about sort of like criminalizing and containing sexuality in a particular type of way. And he was a very flamboyant like dude. Like to me, it was very obvious that, you know, he was gay or whatever. And all the folks in the church are like, I know that's right after all the stuff that he's saying. I'm like, this is really sad. Like it made me really sad. But as someone who, like, I'm a gender abolitionist, and I think the church is a site of gender reproduction in a very particular way, and in a sort of adherence to cis heteronormativity. And I think especially for Black people, one of the things I've been trying to like raise consciousness about is gender itself being anti-Black. And one of the ways that Black people have been dehumanized is by European observations of Black people practicing gender differently on the continent. Like Hegel writes about this in the philosophy of history. And I feel like a lot of people aren't like tapped into that history. But I think this church is an impediment towards that type of consciousness around gender.
It's almost like he said that you're not really religious, you're just sexually frustrated. I'm just saying. All right, guys, we are over, and I'm gonna give Jeff the last word. But anything else from anyone else before we kind of do the things? Anyone have anything that you guys want to make sure that we cover this week? Is anyone? I know Ari said that she's coming back, but is anyone else actually coming back? Because you guys be flaking.
I'll be back.
Oh yeah, Swan, I'll give you that. Swan will be here.
I'm gonna try and be back. I can't make any promises though. I got a busy week.
I told Patty, I said the reason why I brought you up so early is because I didn't want you to leave. I know, like, you come in for like 5 minutes, and if you're not up here, you got to go find Sean.
I be busy. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll be busy. I actually got to do a phone call as soon as I get off of here.
Oh, okay. All right. Sean, Solid, Swan, Ari, Noah, anything else?
Nope. See you tomorrow. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me up. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Do somebody a favor. You know what I'm saying? Unprompted. Do somebody a favor. Love y'all.
I will. That's solid. I will say that when I am going to try and be back for real, but what I would like to talk about when I come back is because the first thing I talked about when I answered your question about Black liberation, my answer about obviously there's no Black liberation without getting rid of the church. I would like to discuss why. I'd like to discuss the reasons why there's no Black liberation in the church.
Well, you just tell me which day you want to be here, and we'll carve out the time. Like we started. Listen, we started this tonight instead of last night because we wanted the Christians to be able to be here and hear us, and like we didn't think they could hear us on Easter. So we'll be here for the next 3 nights.
W.
All right, I appreciate you. Have a good one, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff. So I got to figure out how to do this because, one, I have never had this many people requesting at one time ever. Like when I tell you, if you could have saw the box, and on TikTok it was like about 20 people, on YouTube it was like 7 or 8, and like there was so many people that wanted to come up for this. So I don't know, we got to figure something out because apparently a lot of people want to talk about this.
Yeah, this is one of those topics. This is one of them. I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound slightly cheesy, but I believe this. Y'all already figured it out. Like a lot of the people that came up here to talk about deconstruction, y'all already figured it out. Like that's as far as deconstruction goes. But I understand why a lot of people want to talk about this because it is worldview changing. It changes your. I'm pretty sure if I looked it up, it probably even changes your brain chemistry. Like if I'm being honest,
I could actually believe that.
But I'll just say I'm excited to talk about this more throughout the week. I'm excited to hear everybody's takes. I'm excited to hear people's questions and how they're engaging with this stuff. But more importantly, I'm excited for every single person that's been here and that can hear the sound of my voice to understand that this is just one portion of a bigger picture. And the fight is for liberation, regardless of what that is, what that looks like. The fight is for liberation. Now, I don't believe that that's going to happen with the church. I'll say that again. But whatever form liberation takes, we're going to get liberated. So again, I don't want anybody to think that it's like dismantle the church and we're done. No, we're dismantling everything. This is just one aspect of it.
And Jeff, if they try to stop us, I'm going to make them face the wall.
Oh, yep. And we'll take just to make it tacky. We'll take bets on which way they spin, whether their leg will twitch, all of that stuff. Like
freaking way, Jeff. Holy smokes!
We'll be like, I'll give you. We'll do odds like Vegas. If we do odds, because what it is when you do odds for the first person, the fifth person, right? They're gonna start thinking, why was I a Yahtzee?
But that's what I literally said that the other day, Jeff. I said, they was like, oh, you're advocating for violence against all people. I said, no, because you get a couple of them, I bet you the rest of them will learn. You don't have to get all of them. You just got to get a few of them.
Yep. And by the time you get to the fifth one will be like, look, I'll tell you where the rest of them are at, and I'm with y'all.
Yeah.
I want to come to the potluck. So I'm saying, the reason you gotta place those bets is so that they know we're serious, and when it comes to Yahtzees, we're heartless.
I could have sworn we all had an agreement that was signed into law by Indiana Jones that we punched Nazis in the face. That's what I thought. I don't know.
On site.
Yeah. Anyway,
on
Jeff.
Site.
Tomorrow, anything that the people need to be ready for, prepared with anything, with any homework, anything you got for them?
Bring honesty. Look, I one thing I don't want to turn this into, like, I might sprinkle some like Bible crap in here every now and again because it's funny. I don't want to turn this into Bible study. I don't want to turn it into like an actual dissection of like any one religion. I want us to talk about what deconstruction means in the broad sense and how we can all help each other through it. Yeah. That's what I want to focus on. So bring honesty, bring an open mind, be prepared to be vulnerable, all those things.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some fun.
I like the fact that we had so many different people who had like different religious backgrounds. That was really good. That was really good. Anyway, Jeff. All right. I appreciate you coming up. We'll do this again tomorrow.
I appreciate you back.
All right. W's in the chat for Jeff, guys. W's in the chat for Jeff. Also, W's in the chat for Jen. Jen sent a $10 donation. Jen said, I got saved. Story acres are important to Baptists. I finally got one, but instead of support, I thought you were saved. I deflated and felt embarrassed. First big push to deconstruct was, oh, wow. And now I'm agnostics. Now, thank you for all that you do. Okay, I get what you're saying. The story acres. Story acres. Wait, what is the story acres? What is story acres? What is story acres? What am I thinking of? Story acres. I don't know what that is. It's supposed to be an arc. I see it. It says based on traditional structure, like a phatags pyramid. An arc generally consists of 5 stages. Set up. Oh, I can't see the word. Set up something. Rising, action, climax, success or failures, falling, resolution. Okay. All right. So it's an arc. It's like a story arc. Got it. It's like a story arc, right? Oh. I'm sitting here saying acres instead of arc. Why was I saying acres? Why was I thinking acres? It clearly says arc, and I sat there and read the word arc after saying acres. All right, it's time to go. Holy smokes. It's time to get out of here. All right, guys. Time to pull the plug. Yeah, just turn all of it off. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Why would I say acres? I like it. I don't know why I saw acres. Oh, my God. All right, we're going to get out of here. Debbie's in the chat for Jen. Thank you so much for that. You got saved as your story arc important to baptism. Now it makes so much sense. Like her entire message makes sense now. Because I was reading acres instead of arc. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Debbie's in chat for Jen. We'll be back tomorrow, night 2, late nights with Santana. We'll be back with Deconstructing Religion. We'll be back in the morning for some sparring with Santana. If you guys didn't see it, we got a new topic for sparring. It was interesting to roll that out. That's a new sparring topic. So we'll be back in the morning for that. It made a lot of people fun. There was a lot of big feelings today. I'm hoping that there's not a lot of big feelings in the morning. Anyway, guys, we are going to get out of here and let's go.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams and the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, it's a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah, late nights with Santana.
Hey, Debbie's in the chat for the chat. Debbie's in the chat for the chat, guys. Thank you to everyone that had an opportunity to come up tonight. There were so many people that wanted to join this conversation. Guys, I promise you, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do better to make sure that we get more people in over these next 3 nights. If you didn't get an opportunity to join tonight, come back tomorrow, come back Wednesday, come back Thursday. I promise you, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you in, allow your voice to be heard, because apparently we need to make sure that we have time for this to breathe. So get back here tomorrow, late nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll do it again tomorrow. Guys, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you all for just enjoying what we do here. Thank you for all the gifts, the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for being you. I love you all. And as always, peace.